Hello. Oh, hi, Sarah. Yeah, I just got back from the world up above. Just in time, too, for the children's corner.
When I'm sitting around with my homework all done and there's nothing to do, I call all of my friends, they don't answer the phone. Where have they gone to? Where do you go?
I don't know, Mr. Dill. I can't figure it out. I'm not a cook. But if I make something for lunch, it's got to be pretty easy. I'm thinking of maybe a cheese quesadilla. They're pretty easy. All you need is a flour tortilla, cheese, and some butter. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
I love cheddar cheese quesadillas.
No, I'm not going to make a cheddar cheese quesadilla, Mr. Dill. Thinking more like a pepper jack. It's my favorite. I love pepper jack.
Sheriff, don't want to be rude, but cheddar is better.
Personally, I like pepper jack.
Cheddar is the best.
Look, I'm making the cheese quesadilla. We'll make what I want to make.
Cheddar is better.
Mr. Dill, do you know what's in cheese?
Not really, Sheriff. I don't really care. I just want to eat it. I'm hungry.
It's gonna be pepper jack.
Cheddar is better, Sheriff. Why don't you ask those people over there?
People? What people? Oh, hi there, everyone, and welcome to the town of the Children's Corner, located in the world of the magical couch. I'm Sheriff Stephen J., the Sheriff of Sauge County, and I was just talking to Mr. Dill over here about what I should have for lunch.
What we should have for lunch.
Whatever. And me not being a cook, I was trying to think up something easy. And I was thinking maybe cheese quesadillas. But I'm not really sure because we don't have any cheese here. And I was just asking Mr. Dill if he knew it was in cheese. Apparently he doesn't.
Oh boy. Here we go.
I know a little bit about it. I know you start with milk and you heat it up and you add some good bacteria and an enzyme called rennet. But that's about all I know about it. I have a friend who works in the world up above. He works for the State of Maine Cheese Company. He's a cheesemaker. He's been doing it for years, and he's very good at it. I'm thinking maybe I should pay him a visit and pick up some cheese so I can make those cheese quesadillas. I met him years ago when I worked in the world up above. That's where I was actually born. It's also the place I first met Black Bart and Deputy Larry. I was working in law enforcement, and I was assigned to transporting prisoners. And this one year, we had a competition called a bus rodeo. Well, what happened is Black Bart had climbed up the rope ladder into the world up above with Deputy Larry in hot pursuit, and they wandered into our bus rodeo. Well, years later, after I retired, I found the portal into the world of the magical couch. I climbed down the rope ladder, ran for sheriff, and the rest is history. But that's a story for another day. Right now, I think I'm going to go up that rope ladder and go see my buddy and get me some cheese and make those cheese quesadillas. So let me grab my hat and the pink bag and I'll meet you up there.
Okay, Bart, let's make this quick. I got me a bus rodeo to win.
You ain't winning nothing. Punk.
Make my day.
We don't have painted clowns to keep you laughing hard, but we do have some sergeants standing in the yard. And we don't have no bulls all penned up in a coop. We just have bad guys that we transport in our hoops.
Rollin', keep those buses going.
And we don't have no trails like cowboys used to ride. We travel freeways and the highways all drive. And we don't carry beans and pork like the old West. To transport sandwiches and cookies is our quest.
Keep those buses going.
So now, we'd like to show just what we know. Bus rodeo. Our skills will always grow. We shall showcase bus rodeo.
Rollin', keep those buses going.
We don't ride horses and we don't take any flack. We chain 'em up, move 'em out, and bring 'em back. And unlike cowboys, we don't fall and break our bones. We take our metal ride maneuver through the cone.
Keep those buses going.
We don't yell yeehaw, giddy up, or look for fame. We just say last three numbers and get on the chain. And we don't have the smell of horses, so don't fear. Just our exhaust and the sound of changing gear.
Keep those buses going.
So now, we'd like to show just what we know. Bus rodeo. Our skills will always grow. We shall showcase bus rodeo.
Keep those buses going.
And our skills we're gonna show. Transportation's rodeo.
And what exactly is meso?
Mesophile culture
Exactly.
is a culture that likes body temperature, that likes to be around 88 to 90 degrees.
Hold on.
Yep.
Okay, hold that thought. Sheriff Stephen J. here, and I'm at the State of Maine Cheese Company. And with me, I have head cheesemaker, David. And David is going to show us today how you make cheese. Isn't that right, David?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, how do you make the cheese? And we have a chart here with some
Yeah,
pictures on
yeah,
it from
yeah.
beginning to end.
Yeah.
But how do you start making the cheese? As far as what's the first step that is in the process?
We start by bringing milk from a local farm. It comes on the back of a tractor trailer, and we pump that from the tractor trailer using a pump outside. We pump that through pipes, and it comes into our holding tank that's inside the building.
Now, how big is a holding tank?
The holding tank's quite large. It can hold the whole back half of the tanker truck, actually.
Really?
In that tank, yeah.
That is pretty large.
Yes, that is pretty large.
So, okay, now you have the milk,
Yeah.
and it's in the tank.
Yeah, we're going to take that milk, and we're going to run it through a pasteurizer. And the pasteurizer,
Right.
what that does, it takes the milk, and it cleans it up for us. It takes out all the bad bacteria out of the milk. And so, as pasteurizing, we'd open the valve up on the tank, and that brings the milk into our pasteurizer.
Okay.
The pasteurizer has its own tank, we call it a balance tank, that allows the milk to have a place to be sucked from. The milk is sucked up into the pasteurizer. We check the temperatures to make sure that the milk is at the proper temperature. And then from there, the milk is sent down another pipe, and we open up a valve. That empties that milk down into our vat that we're making cheese from.
I see. So you have to make sure that the pasteurizer is at a certain temperature to
Right.
make sure it kills the bacteria.
Right, yes.
Now, does it kill all of the bacteria?
No, it only kills most of them. Actually, mainly the pathogens, the ones that make people sick, are removed from
Oh, I see.
pasteurization.
Well, those were the ones you
That's the ones we want to
kill.
remove. Right.
Okay, great. Okay, so now you've had your pasteurizer, you
Yeah.
pasteurize it, and
Yeah.
now the milk has gone
It-
through
it-
the pasteurizer, and now it's in a vat.
Right.
Now, at the vat, what are you doing at the
In
vat?
the vat, we want to make sure that the milk's at the right temperature. So we might have to adjust it if it isn't quite high enough or low enough, as the case may be. So after the milk's adjusted to the right temperature, we're going to add good bacteria back into it.
Okay.
Bacteria that we know is good and makes excellent cheese.
Now, what bacteria do you use? Can you tell me? Is that a secret?
No. We use a standard mesophile culture. We actually call it a starter. It likes warm temperatures. Is all mesophile means. Just
Okay.
It's likes body temperature.
So you put the bacteria in. Now, what does the bacteria do to the
Yeah.
milk?
And what it does is it eats the lactose, the milk sugars that are in the milk. It makes a lactic acid. The lactic acid helps break down the milk helps make the milk turn in from milk into cheese. Basically, is what ends up happening.
Now, I heard there's another ingredient that
Yes.
can be used
Right,
or not used,
yeah.
but most of the time it is used,
Right.
and it's called rennet.
It's called rennet. The vegetable rennet is derived from a fungus, a mold.
All right, so you're using a vegetable rennet.
Yes.
And there are two types.
Right.
of rennet.
Animal and vegetable.
Animal and
Yeah,
vegetable.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that. I did know.
Yeah.
But you're using the vegetable.
We're using the
kind.
vegetable.
Okay. So now, how long does that have to sit in the vat?
From this stage here, with the culture and the rennet, it's about an hour and a half for cheddar.
And what does a rennet exactly do?
It acts as a catalyst. It speeds things up. The bacteria would work on their own, but this helps them along. It's kind of like a helper.
So I know it's an enzyme.
Yeah.
So this enzyme basically makes the bacteria do its job quicker.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're at the vat. You put in the bacteria and you put in the rennet.
Yeah.
And you're mixing it up.
Yeah. Well, after we add the rennet, we're waiting for it to just set undisturbed until it turns like a jello. Push down on it, and it will kind of give back. It will push back
Oh, I
at
see.
you. We're going to take that, what's called the coagulum. That's a fancy word right now. Yeah, and we're going to take that, and we're going to run some wire knives through that. And those wire knives will cut that into curds and whey. The curds being the solids, and the whey being the liquid.
So you say knives, and there's
Knives.
more than one knife?
Well, yeah, they're just strings basically right
I see.
inside of a frame, and
But there's-
you run those through.
But there's different types.
There's different types, yes. There's different widths of them. There's different shapes.
I
There's
see.
all kinds of.
And how
different
many
knives.
do you use for your
We use
cheese?
two. We use a vertical one, and then we use a horizontal.
Oh,
And
okay.
we end up with those little cubes, basically. And those cubes are curd.
All right.
And those are suspended in a green liquid, which is whey.
So curds and whey. So basically, you're adding this bacteria
Yeah.
and this rennet,
Yeah.
and you're making milk separate.
Yeah.
So now you have curds,
Yeah.
which is a solid,
Right.
and now you have liquid,
Right, which is whey. Yeah.
whey.
Yeah. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that's whey.
Okay. All right. Now
Yeah.
what are we doing?
What we're doing is we're heating up the curd so that we shrinks it, because right now it's very soft and fragile.
Okay.
So we want to heat it up so it makes it firmer. So we're going to heat that curd until it gets to the right consistency of firmness that we want.
Okay.
And once it reaches that point, then we're going to stir it for a little while longer because the bacteria is still alive in there. And want those
Right.
bacteria to continue to grow and develop and excrete more acid.
So you killed some of the bacteria, but now you want the bacteria
And want it to recover so it
recover.
start growing again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I think
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, so once we get the right texture, the right amount of time of stirring, we're going to drain all the whey off of it.
All right. So
And-
you're
and-
gonna let it out
and
of
so-
the tank.
So we're going to take all that liquid out.
Okay.
And the liquid is going to be pumped out back to another truck we have out back, where it's collected by pig farmers who
Oh.
end up using it for their animals.
So okay, so basically you got milk from cows from
Yeah,
the farm.
yeah.
Now we're gonna turn around and give them
And give
the
that back,
whey
give that back
so
to the
they
pig
can
farmers.
feed their
Yeah,
livestock.
feed the livestock. Yeah.
All right. How many curds? How much curds do you get from how much milk? I mean, the tank over there looks rather large.
Yeah, it's not much. For every 100 pounds of milk, you get 1 pound of curd. And now, once we get all the whey drained off, we're going to take all the curd, we're going to smooth it out, make it nice and pretty,
Okay.
and then we're going to take what's called a curd rake, it's a special tool, and we're going to use that in what's called packing, which is actually involved making a trench between the two sections of curd.
I
So
see.
to push those curds off to the side. Once we form those into two little nice slabs, sort of, on either side, we're going to take another curd knife, we're going to cut the other way, and make those curds into slabs.
Okay.
And those slabs will gradually be turned and then piled on top of each other to develop more acid, to squeeze out more of the liquid whey that's still remaining,
I see.
and at the same time develop the texture that cheddar has.
Now, how many times do you turn this?
We'll stack them 3 different times,
Okay.
flipping them once, then we'll stack them 2 high, then 3 high.
Okay.
And finally, when we're done with that, then we're going to take those slabs, we're going to run those through a curd mill, special machine that'll cut them back into little sizes of curds about yay big.
Okay.
Those curds are going to be salted. The salt will act as a preservative by slowing things down.
I see.
And salt also acts as a flavoring agent, makes things taste better. And once the salt is completely dissolved into the curd and it's completely absorbed, then we'll take those curds, and we're going to take them by a bucket, and we're going to carry them over to square forms that we have, and we're going to add them into those to make 40-pound blocks.
40-pound blocks.
40-pound blocks.
So that's why you carry it
Yeah.
in buckets
Yes.
over
Yeah.
to the farm.
Right.
Okay,
But also I'm going to do some 5-pound wheels.
oh,
And the 5-pound wheels, because they're much smaller, are much easier to carry the forms to the vat rather than carried by bucket. So I'll bring those 5-pound forms over to the vat. I'll fill the forms there.
So from the bucket,
Yeah.
you take the curds over to the square 40-pound forms.
Which are lined with cheesecloth.
Oh, so you have cheesecloth
the cheesecloth
that
there.
lines them.
Yeah, the
Okay.
cheesecloth allows the whey to escape from the forms, basically. It holds the curd in, allows the whey to escape.
And you put the curds in there.
Yeah. Now I'm going to press the cheese.
Okay.
And to press them for the 40-pound blocks, we're going to turn them on their sides, and then we're going to actually compress them with a hydraulic press. We're going to actually use a press that actually presses all the way out of the blocks.
And so it presses them, and then it holds them, I would think, at a
It
certain...
holds them overnight. So the following morning, we'll actually remove the forms from the blocks.
And then you have your cheese, a block of cheese.
Yeah,
Well, that's
and
pretty...
that block of cheese we'll wrap in a plastic wrap. We'll suck all the air out of it, and that goes into cold storage until it's ready to be sold.
So you have the square form,
Yep.
and you put it in the press, and
Yep.
the press squeezes it,
Yep.
and it all the
Yep.
rest of the way, the
Yep.
liquid,
Yep.
comes out. So you're getting
Yes.
all that way out.
Yep.
And the same with the round one.
No, actually, the round cheese, we'll use a what you call a bungee press. It's actually what you call bungee cords. We'll stretch over top of them. Use those to provide continuous pressure on them overnight. When I remove those from the forms, those I do this thing called bandaging, which actually involves taking a cloth cheesecloth, soaking it in butter, and then applying that outside
Oh.
the cheese. And that will become its own wrapper for it. That will stay that way for the life of the cheese.
Get me hungry. So, let's go about Jack cheese. Let's talk about
Okay.
Jack
Yeah.
cheese, because my favorite cheese is pepper jack.
Right,
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
pepper
yeah,
jack.
yeah.
And so when you make the pepper jack cheese, is it pretty much the same process up to a point?
Up to a point, it is. It's the same process up to the point of just beyond cooking. After the curd is cooked, instead of trying to encourage acid like we do with cheddar, we'll drain about half of the whey off of the jack, and then we'll add cold water back into that. And what that's
I
trying to do
see.
is we're trying to slow the bacteria down.
So it's the same little vat? Like
No,
before?
no, it's a larger vat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we sell a lot more jack than we sell cheddar. It's
Oh, that
what it
makes
boils down
sense.
to.
Okay,
So
there you go.
That's why we.
So you make it,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So you make all this jack cheese.
Yeah.
What's the difference between making the cheddar and the jack? What are you doing differently?
We're adding cold water into the vat, and that's cooling the curd down. And when you cool the curd down, it slows all the bacteria down because we're taking away its food source, lactose.
I see.
You know, so it's taking away sugar from it, and we're cooling it off. And so when you cool bacteria down, they slow down again. Instead of putting the trench down the center and making the slabs and turning the slabs like do with cheddar, we're actually keeping all the curd in motion all the time. We're not allowing it to stick together. We're actually keeping it constantly in motion, and that is what we call stirred curd method. We're keeping it always stirring the curd. The cheddar has kind of it ends up being sort of elongated square shapes. The jack curd looks more almost like popcorn.
Popcorn.
Yes.
Oh, I like popcorn. Cheese and popcorn. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
cheese
yeah.
flavored popcorn. I love that. So then you get your curds, because curds makes all cheese.
Yeah.
And then how do you make the pepper jack or the jalapeno? I call it jalapeno.
Yeah,
Pepper jack,
same thing. Yeah. But we take the curd from the vat, just like I can do with the cheddar. We move it, put it into a form, and then we add our flavoring in the form. Typically, we mix it right in by hand.
So your curd is in the form,
Mhm.
and then you add your jalapeno,
Yeah.
and,
And we
you mix it all
hand mix
up.
it in.
And same thing, and then
Yeah.
that has the cheesecloth.
Yeah, it has a cheesecloth
And
line.
you wrap
also,
it,
so we'll wrap it and press
you
it.
press it.
Hydraulic press, same as the cheddar.
And the next day,
Next
you know,
day,
we got
it will come
40-pound
out.
block of
yeah,
jalapeno?
and it will be wrapped in
Jack.
plastic. Same thing. It will
Pepper jack.
go back to cold storage until it's ready to be sold.
wow. So now you have a 40-pound block of pepper jack. I
Mhm.
love pepper
Yeah.
jack. That's great.
Yeah.
You see that, everybody? Anybody can make cheese. David makes it all the time. Isn't that right, David?
No, I just manage the bacteria. They do all the work for me. So I guess you can call me a lactic fermentation control specialist.
Okay, a bacteria manager. David's a bacteria manager. Say some bacteria names.
Oh, lactobacillus. What do you got?
There you go.
Lactococcus.
What else?
Cocci? Oh, streptococci. There's all
Yeah.
kinds of bacteria.
Buy it in the store.
But you don't need to know. You need to know the names to make the cheese. You can. All you need is a good recipe and
Well,
and just a little bit of time and practice. You can. Anybody can make it.
you're doing a great job. You've made
Thank
me
you.
hungry.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get me some, I'm going to get some pepper jack, obviously, but I'm going to get some cheddar as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and we're going to try it out.
Okay.
All right, everybody, I'm going back to the house, and we'll meet you there, and thank you very much, David, for
Okay.
sharing all that with
Thank
us,
you.
and that you take care.
Yeah.
And I'll see you again one day.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
You want to have some cheese? I'm going to have
Sure.
some cheese. Well, I made it back. Finally home. And I'm happy to say that David sent me back with 2 8-ounce bars of cheese. Pepper jack and cheddar. Now these 8-ounce bars, they were actually made from the 40-pound blocks of cheese that you saw David making. Now a machine actually cuts the blocks into the bars, but it wasn't operating today. But basically it has wires that go vertically up and down and horizontally left to right. And it's pushed forward, the block, through these wires are very sharp. And it cuts the blocks. And then it's pushed sideways through more wires. And that cuts the blocks the other way, and then you have your bars. Which brings me to today's words of interest. First word is curd. C-U-R-D. Curd. And curd is that solid part of milk that is formed when the milk sours or is treated with an enzyme like rennet. All curd is used to make cheese. And curd is also a coagulum. Coagulum. C-O-A-G-U-L-U-M. Coagulum. And a coagulum, that's a lump of material that is formed from the content of a liquid. And today's last word of interest, whey. W-H-E-Y. Whey. And whey is that watery part of milk that comes from the curd when you're making cheese. So, what do you say we make some cheese quesadillas? The first thing we're going to do is preheat our oven to 400 degrees. Let's do it. Okay, now that we have our oven being preheated, we want to get a pan. I got one right here. And we want a tortilla, flour tortilla. So here we go. Just happen to have a flour tortilla right here. Now we want soft butter. And I have some soft butter right here. And what we're going to do is we are going to butter the tortilla on one side with the soft butter. Now, because I see Mr. Dill isn't here, he must have got tired of waiting and went somewhere else to get a bite to eat. We're going to use, not cheddar, we're going to use pepper jack cheese. Now we're all buttered up. Now we're going to turn it like this. We're going to take our pepper jack and we're going to cut our pepper jack into slices. And I'm putting the pepper jack on half of the tortilla. I'm going to flip it over like that. And we're going to put it in the oven for 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes is up, and let's take it out. All right, there we go. Now, we want to flip it over. And we're going to put it back in the oven for another 3.5 minutes. All right, our 3.5 minutes is up. Let's take a look at it. Oh, hot, hot, oh, hot, hot, hot. All right, there we go. Okay. Now, we let it sit for 2 to 4 minutes to cool down. All right, it's been a couple minutes. See? Okay. Let's take it off our baking sheet. Okay. All right, now we're going to cut it. Going to cut it in half. And take the half, and you're going to cut it. And there you go. Cheese quesadilla. Now let's give it a try. Wow, nice tangy flavor. David did a great job. And you can eat this with sour cream, guacamole, put some salsa on it. Delicious. And I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And we'll see you next time on the Children's Corner.